afternoon, everyone. My work is from BIM to asset management, data-driven guidelines for operations and maintenance. So the main motivation to start this work was the lack of a structured framework in later stages of design. So after the handover, this dissertation was developed in collaboration with the company. They are partners in the master, Limson. So the main goal was to develop a practical and useful tool for teams to provide COVID deliverables and to clarify the requirements and the involved roles and responsibilities so the information could reach later design stages. So considering the topic, keywords were defined to start with the literature revision, and more than 1,000 entries were obtained and then inserted into VOS Viewer, which is a software to generate bibliographic networks. And as you can see, this would be a lot of entries, it's a lot of research, and then we reduced the initial 6 keywords to 5. And we considered also the years of publication and the language, and we filtered this information. And this helped in the definition of the structure of the dissertation. So as you can see, you have 4 main colors that would correspond to the 4 main chapters of the body of the dissertation, plus the introduction and the conclusion, of course. So here is this relation between the chapters and the clusters I mentioned. So basically, it's the 6 chapters where we do a little bit of context and literature revision for operations and maintenance and facility management. Then we also do an assessment on standards for asset management and the available software solutions to integrate BIM in the operations and maintenance. And then on chapter 4 and 5, this is a reflection of the company interaction. So we explore the BIM to FM linking procedures and possibilities, and we started to define on concrete requirements. So we start to design a tool that we called COVID Planner. And finally, on chapter 5, we highlight the functionalities of COVID Planner and also use it inside authoring software and operations and maintenance software. So obviously, there are challenges and benefits connected to the facility management and the use of BIM in this later stage of design. So mostly they are related to business and legal issues, human and organizational and technical, as well as the benefits. They can fit under the same 3 categories. So regarding the information requirements, expenses regarding the operation of a building are usually 4 times bigger than the costs within design and construction. So this is a huge difference. And while models during design and construction stages are continuously updated by designers and the design partners and so on, the same does not happen into use stages where the model is only occasionally updated. So this is an issue because it should be updated more often as it's consuming more of the budget of the project, but it's not happening. So when looking to the available market solutions for operations and maintenance software, 2 reports that were released by 2 major companies, consultancy companies, point out the same solutions as leaders. While assessing all of the solutions was not possible, we recognize that Maximo from IBM is pointed out as a solution, as well as Archibus, so Space IQ. And we decided to go with a deeper assessment on 9 options that were chosen. And we tried to consider either the appointed leaders, so IBM, as we said, and Archibus, and as well as big software houses, as some products from Autodesk, Nemetschek, and other growing solutions in Europe, as Dalux. So an unextensive research on the side of the user was conducted, and we assessed these features on the left. So we checked for interoperability regarding, for example, Revit, ArchiCAD, Allplan, if it was working, exporting COBie, importing COBie, which features were available, like for integration, and also classification and others. So some conclusions can be drawn from this study, that most of the interaction between the authoring software and the operations and maintenance software relies on plugins. So usually it's a plugin that imports or exports the information backs and forwards. And while only 3 were compatible with ArchiCAD, 6 of them worked for Revit. So less than half of them allowed COBie to be imported or exported. And also these assessments allowed us to understand how the FM industry could benefit from an open solution, an open approach that would be supplier free, as most of these solutions are not compatible between them. So if I am an owner or an operator with multiple projects under different types of asset management, I will have a hard time finding a common solution. And as technology is always looking forward, it will be probably outdated in a short time. So we then moved to this assessment of the possible linking procedures, where we identified 4 major types, where proprietary middleware would be these software solutions we just talked about. Then we would have manual spreadsheets, COBie in the shape of a spreadsheet, and IFC. And we can relate this to the amount of geometric and non-geometric data in the different stages of design. So while in the design stage, it's really important to have the geometric component because we need to associate a shape with the object. The further we go in the design stage, this tends to invert. So the non-geometric properties grow in importance because most of the information required for operations and maintenance is non-geometrical. So it's there to help the user to locate the asset. So is this idea that not all the data needs a model at this stage. Then from all of the 4 options presented, all of them had benefits and challenges, of course. Manual spreadsheets are a well-known method by everyone, but it's very time-consuming and it's quite non-reliable. Also, proprietary middleware, so these software solutions, they come with an additional cost because it's another license, and also sometimes with the need of specific training for the staff. So we got IFC and COBie, and as an open and vendor-neutral BIM format, and also object-oriented database, which is very promising. However, IFC is quite complex, so it also needs some deeper knowledge from teams in order to properly handle the information. Also, stakeholders, so owners, operators, clients, they not always have access to IFC compliant applications. So facing this left us with COBie, which is also an open source and vendor neutral approach, and that can be presented in the shape of a spreadsheet. So COBie stands for Construction, Operations, Building, Information Exchange, and it can be presented in 3 possible formats. So the XML format, the spreadsheet as we talked about, and also the IFC step. And it has been around for quite a while. So it's been almost 15 years already that has been continuously tested and improved along the years in the industry. So COBie is in the end a familiar format, which we can edit in a simple way because we can do some queries like checking data, find and replace, validate. And also it adds no cost to operation and maintenance because it's part of the authoring software. So it's a feature that we can find under Revit or under ArchiCAD, and it avoids data re-entry in later stages of design. So it provides higher quality data from an early design stage, let's say. Then the question was for us, me with Limson together, so which information to provide, how and by who? So which are the roles and responsibilities connected to COBie? And in this image, there is a proposal for these roles and responsibilities, and also the data drops according to the company's experience and the workflows that were designed that could be pre-agreed on BEP and of course adapted to local project needs. So here we find the spreadsheet interactions and hierarchies. So in COBie, we can have, let's say, 3 main hierarchies that will be the spatial, more connected to the design stages, where we have this facility, information, floor, space, zone. And then in construction, we will go deeper in the object definition, so types, components, systems. And we also have a common topic that are all the information that is related to all the design stages. So contacts of the designers, for example, of the owner, documents that are relevant, attributes, coordinates, and so on. So when we look into the spreadsheet, we have 19 sheets where they can be filled either in authoring software or in operations and maintenance software. This is what is usually done, but it doesn't mean that it has to be done this way. So this here are it's the aspect of a typical COBie spreadsheet, where we can see that we have different colors, where, for example, yellow stands for data that has to be filled in this stage, and the purple, for example, is something that we don't have to interact with because it's already exported from authoring software. Also, the light green, for example, is something that should only be filled if it's agreed. For example, the impact sheet that has to do with environmental properties. So as you just have seen, 19 sheets is quite a lot to fill out. So delivering COBie turns into a somehow overwhelming process that requires some guidance to the team. So together with Limson, we consider this experience and we move forward into the design of COBie Planner. That is a tool which main objective is to define and clarify the information that has to be delivered. And we set up 3 main stages of information. That will be the light stage, the intermediate, and the full. So they are connected to project stages and to information stages. And here is the basic definition for which sheets to consider. So you have all the COBie sheets on the left side, and they are marked with these red dots. Either you should consider it in this stage or not. We then move to the materialization of this. So inside Plannerly platform, which is, some of you probably know, it's a platform for BIM management mostly. It was already used by Limson, so we integrated this tool in Plannerly so they could use it in their regular BEP. So after defining the information concerning the 3 examples, so we chose 3 components of a typical model as an example, and we fill out this information in Revit and then export it to Dalux to see if it was usable and if we could see all the information. So inside Plannerly, we usually most plan and scope tabs. And as you can see, we have some tables where you can find the COBie field. Then you have a description, which is a kind of explanation what's expected there. And then you have an example what should be filled and some naming conventions and so on. And we did it for different elements for all the COBie sheets. So if you are a designer or if you are an owner, you just go through the tables and you know exactly what to fill and where to fill it. Then in the scope, we also created some filters regarding the stages. So as you see, you have different colors, and these colors are connected to the light, intermediate, and full. So you can filter whatever you want to know, like, do I need this in this stage? You just use the filters and you will see the list, what's expected from this stage. We then move to Revit. So here you can see once again the colors associated to the spreadsheet. So you know what you should export. And also this is just to check we fill this COBie fields, and on top you have the spreadsheet, and in the image you can see all the fields, and the same for another example that will be an object. So this would have far more properties. You can see the type is also enabled and also the component, and the same for a system which is more complex. And in the end also dialog, so you can see all the properties are here under this prefix COBie, and it's exactly the same information we had in Revit and we had back in the spreadsheet. So as a conclusion, by the end of this work, some conclusions can be drawn that BIM to FM linking procedures should be promoted since early design stages to avoid data re-entry. So we generate data waste, let's say, digital waste. And COBie is also a powerful tool to be considered in this process because it's not attached to any brands. So it's a promoter, a facilitator of true interoperability. And as a future research point, it will be interesting to hear from owners and operators regarding their level of literacy in COBie. So this could help us to develop a better tool, and maybe this tool would be outside the Plannerly environment. So it could guarantee that it would be a foundation for an independent tool that could be used outside this environment. So thank you all for listening, and that would be all. Let me know if you have any questions.